Okay, Tuesday, November 1st. This is an end of the day SPY recap. And on the daily chart, we end up with an outside day to the downside. We took out the high of the previous day and the low of the previous day. It was a small bar. Pre-market activity between the blue lines here. Right out of the gates, price opened up and immediately moved lower. So we didn't get the follow through to the upside that perhaps we were anticipating. And then when we came down strong here to the halfway point of that prior bar, that was the sign to continue, through this all the way to the bottom of this range from yesterday. And that's what we did. We took it out, and that was really the only move of the day. And then we kind of just held on for the rest of the session. Clearly, there's an FOMC announcement tomorrow, so the market's probably gearing up for that in some way, and we'll see. There'll be a bunch of volatility with that in mind. In terms of the bigger picture at this point, what we have here now on the daily chart, it's a broadening action day. In other words, if you really look at it here, we made on the 15-minute chart higher highs through here and lower lows through here. So at any moment, we can just be broadening out in the short run and then immediately starting back through the range that way. Or is this little broadening action to the downside going to expand? If we expand lower with a 3-2 continuation lower tomorrow, it does project down to, the lows of that big green bar, which at that point you're kind of past the halfway point of this weekly chart. So it could mean, a 2-up weekly failure that projects to the bottom of this weekly chart, and we do have a little gap in here. I could see between the high of this bar and the low of that bar. It could be something that could be filled before possibly resuming higher. If we get that kind of a downward move, we want to see if we hold kind of the halfway point of the monthly bar, which is kind of right at the bottom of this weekly bar here. So there's a whole bunch of interesting things if we head lower that could kind of kick in and maybe call this rally over, but we're not there yet. We'll see how things react tomorrow. We could get a brief little move down failure and then back up through the midpoint of that bar tomorrow and then start the uptrend given, after the news, whatever Federal Reserve interest rate announcement is made. So we'll watch for that tomorrow. But today, the only opportunity was really, once you didn't get the buying right out of the gates, was to kind of sell aggressively at the midpoint of yesterday and then expect this kind of move lower. So for a short-term trade, it was a pretty clear one option today. A bunch of stocks also were weak, and you could have taken advantage of those to the downside as well. I even tried a long trade early on what was it, Shopify, I think, a small loss, but then First Solar actually had a move that I played a bounce off of when I saw that, and that was a small gain. So there was some upside opportunities too, given the fact that the market really just consolidated a little bit here, and is still consolidating on the daily chart. We're kind of moving up here, you can see, in kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's almost like 5 days of consolidating here with still potential targets higher. And again, we'll watch that weekly chart to see if we cross the midpoint or not, or hold. If we hold that level and somehow start back up in some kind of a failure way to the downside, that kind of gets you excited to starting heading up to that target. And even on the monthly chart at the moment, you can visualize, we have the open of the month on this purple line. So you can visualize, let's just say this is the first day of the month and all the way through November, it's going to go up. We can have a little bit of a tail here at the bottom, before, even if this is a big green bar. So this could be the little tail forming, and as we start up into November towards those highs, you look back on this day and just say, oh, for a day or two, we might have went lower, didn't cross the midway point of that month and started higher. So that's still in play too, but we're just going to go, day by day and kind of watch these key levels. Again, now we have the green bar here. If we can get above there, that kind of turns the weekly chart back to green, and we have to get above this purple line, to get that month starting green for a follow through for the rest of the month. So we'll look for that as well. So let's see what happens tomorrow, FOMC day.